Hello YouTube, how are you? JJ Merrill here, and welcome back to yet another episode of my Dota 2 Starter Strategy Series, where I pause the game and politely ask the enemy team to wait for a moment. Today I'm going to be showing you how to play some jungle Lycanthrope. Ridiculously strong hero, and by making this video I hope that I can introduce more of you to the joys of completely demolishing the enemy team, all their towers, and any hope they have for success. So, to get started here, Lycanthrope is a strength-based carry, pusher. He does a lot of different things, but he's an extremely good pusher, very good carry. He can definitely reach the status of almost as close to a hard carry as like an anti-mage or Faceless Void or a Morphling can. And he is an extremely effective jungler at that. So, to go ahead and start this video off, let's go ahead and cover what our lane matchups are going to be, and then I'm going to get into Lycanthrope skills, item builds, jungle path, all that good stuff. First thing I do want to touch on really quickly, though, is notice how I use my wolves to scout out the runes. The reason I do this is because it is an absolutely free cast here in the fountain. I'm going to respawn my wolves and then go into the jungle. So, quickly, take a look here. It looks like we're going to have a Spectre solo top. Okay, Spectre Crystal Maiden top. We're going to have myself in the jungle. Going to have a Storm Spirit mid and have a solo Omni Knight going bottom. So some interesting lane setups here, but it should work out okay. Now on the dire side, you want to make very sure you start out at the easy camp here first. That's located right here on the mini-map where I am at the moment that you can see. I was actually trying to go in the free camera. So easy camp is always going to be right here on the dire side. Radiant side, it is always going to be right here. So this is definitely the first camp you want to start at. I have another video uploaded that talks about a quick start guide to jungling Lycanthrope, but in case you haven't watched that, we'll quickly go over this here. The camp spawned at exactly 30 seconds, and notice how I cleared out this camp before the 1 minute mark hit. The reason I did this is so that I can easily clear this camp yet again and pick up a very easy and very safe level 2. Now, a lot of the early part of this video is just going to be walking around the jungle killing stuff, but I'm going to go over the basics of what you should be doing first. Don't do that, by the way. Notice how what I tried to do is I tried to move my wolf out so that it would the creep would start focusing the other wolf. However, I did not move the wolf out in time, so that's going to kind of hurt a little bit. Not really a big deal, so that should be okay. After I clear out that camp, I typically like to go down to this medium camp, but not if there are centaurs. God, I hate centaurs. Centaurs are absolutely terrible. The reason being is because the stun that the big centaur does is going to waste a lot of your time, and it's going to take quite a bit of your health away from both yourself and your wolves, so that kind of sucks. This camp is okay. The wolf camp, also not the best. If I could, I would just do easy camp all the way up to like level 4 or 5 or so, but it's not always that easy. And by the way, by doing this camp right here, what I've effectively done is that this actually can hurt your team, because the Crystal Maiden can no longer now stack and pull at the 2-minute 2:52 mark, and she's going to have to wait again. So this camp here, I actually do not recommend doing this in like your more organized games, but it doesn't really matter if you're just playing to have some fun, and you know stacking and pulling is not going to be totally necessary. So I did want to make sure I mentioned that. Do not do this camp if you know that your support is going to be stacking and pulling. This is a bug in the replay, by the way. I'm now going to have floating wolves for the rest of the game, so I hope you guys enjoy that. I do decide to go ahead and do the centaur camp because, truth be told, I just want to get it out of the way, get it over with. You can see how much of a pain in the ass that stun is. Takes down my wolf to pretty low health. Not going to be a huge deal, though. Going to be able to take this out. Alright, since I think you guys kind of have a general gist of the idea of what to do in jungling, I'm going to start talking about Lycan skills fairly soon. But before I do, general rule of thumb is easy camp, hard camp. Do not do this for quite some time. It's not going to be worth your wolves' health. I only recommend like doing this camp whenever you get like level 6 and above, and you actually have your Vladimirs, all that good stuff. This camp's a medium camp, hard camp. If you go onto the Radiant side, you have this actually is a hard camp, but the these Wildkins these actually are not that bad. Easy camp, hard camp, medium camp, and medium camp. So, those are the camps. I recommend doing the easies and the mediums and avoiding the hard camps pretty much all the time, unless you run into the Wildkins. These really are not that bad. So, okay, let's talk about Lycan a little bit. So his first skill, Summon Wolves. This is going to be your bread and butter going through the jungle, and it's going to be consistently helpful throughout the game, pushing down towers and getting sweet, super pro wolf kills with them on enemy heroes. So, Summon Wolves, the mana cost on this is quite high, especially as you're starting out in the game. Lycan's mana pool is very, very low, especially in the first several levels whenever you don't have much regeneration. By the way, that's also why I pick up a Ring of Basilius and 2 Clarity Potions at the start. Again, if I didn't provide a good thorough explanation of my jungle route here, check out my other video for a jungle Lycan quick start guide. I go into it a little bit more detail on that. But I do prefer starting with a Ring of Basilius and 2 Clarity Potions. I have experimented with starting with Quelling Blade and Quelling Blade Tango's Clarity, I think is what I did the last time I tried this. I don't really like it. I find I can stay in the jungle for quite some time doing this, at least long enough to get my Vladimirs up or most of it. If any of you guys have any input on a superior jungle path, please let me know, because I would definitely like to know about it. So anyway, Summon Wolves. Mana cost is pretty high. Summons 2 Wolves, which do a surprising amount of damage. So you can see it scales up fairly well as you level it. I recommend maxing this skill first in almost any scenario. There is hardly ever a time you should not be maxing this. This is going to be of prime importance as you're going through the jungle. So it looks like, unfortunately, the Ursa does get first blood on her Storm Spirit, but that's okay.
My claws are red with the gore of first blood.
Yeah, good old Ursa. That's okay, though, because Lycan, I'm going to be able to outcarry him. Probably. I'm not worried about that. So, his second skill, Howl. This is a great skill. Very good in team fights and also very, very good for pushing. I leveled the skill up last. I actually do not take a point in this until level 9, I believe, is a skill order. So Howl, this is global, by the way. It's going to give all of your heroes bonus damage and all of your minions, well, all minions under your control, bonus damage. So you can see how this can translate very well to helping out in a team fight or a tower push. Lycan's third skill, Feral Impulse. This is also a really good skill. Gives any units under your control bonus attack speed and bonus damage. So this is going to help both you and your wolves. Pretty straightforward. I maxed this out second. So I'm maxing out my wolves and my Feral Impulse together. I want to get my wolves to the highest level and Feral Impulse. Pick up your ultimate whenever you can. Let's talk about his ultimate. This ultimate does a lot of different things, but the number one thing to remember about this is that you go at maximum movement speed and you cannot be slowed. If you come from League of Legends, which a lot of people watching this video may have, this is basically like Master Yi's ult. Pretty much the same thing, except you're a wolf and Master Yi sucks. And as this, you're gonna get crit chance, you're gonna get bonus HP, you get bonus night vision, bonus armor. Basically, Lycan's ultimate turns him into a team killing badass. Very, very good ultimate, one of my favorite in the entire game. So now that I actually have picked up at least most of the Vladimirs, I picked up the Mask and the Ring and Regen. I'm going to go ahead and start taking out these camps, but notice how much damage my wolves took there. I actually did not tank any of this, which I easily could have, by the way. But my jungle route as I'm going through this is not as clean as it should be, so I encourage you guys to, really refine and practice as you're jungling if you plan to play this character. Make sure your wolves stay up as long as they possibly can, micro them as well as you can, and it's going to pay off. It's going to mean the difference between taking out a camp or not taking out a camp. That can mean the difference between possibly picking up your Vladimirs. So, very first item that I'm going to pick up is Vladimir's Offering. I really don't recommend rushing this on pretty much any other hero in the game, but on Lycan, it's fine. Reason being is this is going to allow me to do a very early Roshan. Keep in mind that Ursa can do this as well, but I am definitely not as big a fan as Ursa as I am of Lycan. Vladimir's, you guys probably know most of this already, but are a lifesteal, bonus damage, armor, mana regen, and HP regen. So, this is going to provide a lot of benefit to your wolves, is the main reason why this is so good on Lycan, but it's also going to give you all these benefits as well. So, very good first item to pick up, and it's going to allow us to do a very, very early Roshan, which is what really gives Lycan his strength in the jungle. The fact that I'm able to do this at right around the 10 to 11 minute mark if you do it just right. So what I'm working towards next is going to be Medallion of Courage. Whenever I pick that item up, I'm definitely going to talk about it. I'm now to the point where I'm strong enough to be able to take on pretty much any camp in the jungle without having to worry about it. And by the way, Crystal Maiden is a very good ally for Lycan because of the Arcane Aura. That is super, super helpful in getting my mana back up and maintaining my wolves. So definitely very nice. Other things to watch out for is Lycan, just in the meantime while I'm farming up and before the real action starts, is while Lycan does an insane amount of damage, his amount of physical damage that comes out of him is absolutely ridiculous. There are counters to heroes like this. You got to keep in mind that Lycan has no innate ability to CC the enemy. I have no way to stun or slow them. The only way I can do this is with items or with the assistance of my team. So, what's this mean? You need to make sure that you're going to play with allies that are going to be able to help you do this. For example, Crystal Maiden, Omni Knight. Crystal Maiden has both a slow and a stun. Omni Knight has a slow, and he also has magic immunity that he can cast on me. Those are very good allies for Lycan to have. People that are actually going to let you get in there and start raising hell, and you're actually going to be able to attack them and not have to chase them down. Enemies of Lycan, pretty much anybody that has a stun, and if you don't have your BKB up, if you're stunned during your ultimate, you can still be stunned during your ultimate. You cannot be slowed, but yes, you can still be CC'd by being stunned or suppressed, all that nasty stuff. So, Vengeful Spirit is kind of nasty. That's probably my main threat on the enemy team in terms of crowd control. Tidehunter kind of sucks, but again, not that bad. His Ravage is really the only thing that's going to affect me that much, because if he casts a Gush on me while I'm in my ultimate, it's not going to have any effect aside from, excuse me, the armor reduction and the damage that it does, but the slow will not apply to me. So, this particular game, I'm very, very close to being able to Roshan. Matter of fact, I could do that right now. I've picked up my Medallion of Courage. I really like this item. I think this item is actually fairly underrated. The reason that I'm picking this up is its base stats are quite good by itself. The armor is always a good thing, especially against this team lineup. Lone Druid, Ursa, Juggernaut. By the way, it looks like the Juggernaut has DC'd, which is kind of a shame. But if I remember correctly, he is going to come back fairly soon. But, oh, and the mana regen is a huge, huge help as well. It's going to make sure that I can jungle almost indefinitely as I'm doing this. But where this really shines is the armor reduction. Okay, looks like we are going to pause the game. That's actually okay. This is going to give me a few minutes to talk through a few things that are on my mind that I may not be able to as the action actually finally picks up in this game. So, the armor reduction on this is extremely, extremely helpful. Let's take a look at a real example. Right now on my character, I have a total of 6 armor. This means I can resist 26 physical damage. If I use this item on, like let's say I was attacking another character that had 6 armor, this would take their physical damage resistance down to 0. This means I would start doing true damage to them. So, true damage. True damage is really good. Let's say I was able to actually get up on them, start getting hits. That is just about close to 100 damage per hit on a target with 0 armor. And if my wolves got up on them, well, the wolves do a fair amount of damage too. Do not underestimate these guys. If you get these wolves up on a squishy target, they are really going to start tearing them apart, especially with the fact they do have a chance to critical strike as well. So, let's say a wolf gets off a critical strike on a 0 armor target. That's 170% damage. So, if we think about that, that's going to be, what, about 80-ish damage? Just from a minion. I mean, most heroes at this point of the game are going to be glad to be doing 80 damage. But just my wolves alone can do that. If I'm able to get up on a target, use a Medallion of Courage, and yeah. Hopefully I'm going to be able to show that off as the game goes on. If I remember this game correctly, I'm going to hopefully use this to decent effect. Looks like the Juggernaut has came back. His mom unplugged the internet, but that's okay. That's very understandable. Happens to the best of us. What I'm doing now is honestly a bit of a mistake because I am well prepared to Roshan right now. The only thing you need to Roshan is your Vladimirs and your Medallion of Courage. That's it. I could have used the Courier at any time to bring these items to me, but for whatever reason this game I decided to jungle a bit more. But that's okay. So, looks like our top lane might be having a little bit of pressure going on here. I may be coming up top here for a gank, so let's go ahead and see what happens. Spectre has a lot of trouble until later in the game, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. So I'm just kind of wandering around doing my thing. Ursa's definitely around. Now keep in mind I cannot see this. I have the Fog of War turned on so that it only shows what we could see during the game. Again, I am wasting a bit of time here, which is a mistake. I should be Roshaning right now. There's really no reason I should be jungling this long. But that's okay. In the meantime, let's go ahead and let's talk about a couple other things, like maybe look at our matchups. Actually, it looks like I am finally going to do it, so I do pick up my Smoke of Deceit, and I do pick up a Town Portal Scroll. Whenever I actually pick these items up, I'll talk about why I specifically get a Smoke of Deceit, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, though, Spectre against Ursa, kind of awkward. Ursa definitely has the advantage here, especially earlier in the game, so that kind of sucks. But things are going to be alright because I'm playing Lycan. Looks like we're going to have, I'm not sure what all's going on down here. Looks like we have Crystal Maiden and Omni Knight. Anyway, alright. So I'm going to finally pick up my items, and now it's time to Roshan. There is definitely, I'm going to harass my wolves a little bit here, but yeah, I managed to do a fair amount of damage to Tidehunter, a completely free damage, because I'm not going to use these wolves anyway. By the way, whenever you're not using your wolves, you can easily use them in the jungle for you, so that's just a good little way to make some extra money, definitely helpful. So I actually have a little bit extra. Normally I do Roshan earlier than this, but I have a boots and I have an extra level. Typically I do this at level 8, not 9. So I'm going to smoke up. The reason I do this is because if the enemy team has a ward here, they're going to see me go into the Roshan pit. But now, if I turn on the Radiant Fog of War, actually no, they didn't have a ward there. But if they did have a ward there, they would be able to see me doing this. So I'm going to talk about why Medallion of Courage is so critical for doing this. Whenever I use Medallion of Courage on Roshan, it takes his armor down to the point where not only am I doing true damage, I'm doing bonus damage with my attacks. By default, at least at this point in the game, Roshan has 2 armor. By using Medallion of Courage, I'm taking him down to -3 armor, so I'm actually doing bonus damage to him right now. And look how fast this is. A level 9 hero doing Roshan solo, and I'm doing it fairly quickly and fairly safely. The enemy team has no idea that I'm doing this. Again, I highly recommend using Smoke of Deceit.
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
Just try to kill me.
Any competent enemy team is going to have this warded, especially if they see that you've went Lycan. So now is where the fun actually begins. I have my Aegis. Now it's actually time to start doing some work and get out of the jungle. So I'm going to go into the bottom lane. I'm telling these guys that I'm on my way. And I pop my ultimate, so I'm moving at max move speed. Looks like we want to go ahead and go on the Juggernaut here. And I make sure to use my Medallion of Courage to do as much damage as I can. You saw I just got a crit for 204 damage on Juggernaut. If I didn't use the Medallion of Courage there, yeah, sure, it still would have hurt, but it would not have got him down to kill status, where I would have been able to finish him off with one more hit. Now, to show off the pushing power of Lycanthrope. This tower is absolutely melting with only myself, Omni Knight, 2 wolves, and 2 creeps. Okay, Ursa's going to teleport in here, and Omni Knight's ultimate is going to make his Fury Swipes do absolutely nothing. Very good play by him here, and we're going to be able to easily finish this tower. We actually should be finishing this instead of me chasing Ursa like an idiot. Juggernaut does TP back in, trying to clear the creep wave a little bit. We're not even caring at this point. I use my Medallion of Courage once again on the Juggernaut to make sure I'm doing as much damage as I can to him. Even with his healing ward up, well, it's not going to make any difference here. You just simply do way too much damage. So we're able to take out a very, very fast tower and get a couple of hero kills in the process as well. So they're running away. There's pretty much nothing they can do at this point. Very good play by my team there, by the way. The fact that Omni Knight cast his Repel to make sure that the Ursa Fury Swipes couldn't do anything, and he, not Repel, but his ultimate, and also cast Repel on me so the Vengeful Spirit cannot stun me, thus guaranteeing the kill on the Juggernaut. So very good play there, and definitely very helpful. Again, that's why Omni Knight is a good ally to a carry like Lycanthrope. He can definitely make all the difference there. So, next item I'm going to get is definitely going to be Power Treads. I feel that there are hardly any other choices for Lycan. You got to keep in mind that if you get Phase Boots, you're going to move at max speed anyway whenever you're using your ultimates. You're really not getting any benefit from that. Arcane Boots is just kind of silly. I really don't like that choice. Boots of Travel. I've never tried it, but to be honest, that's actually not a bad idea in some certain setups. So that's something to keep in mind. I kind of don't like it inherently because, again, the movement speed bonus you're not really going to get all that much benefit from. Because at level 3, your ultimate has a cooldown of 40 seconds, but its duration is 20 seconds. This means you're going to be, or it's 18 seconds rather, but close enough. This means you're going to be in your ultimate pretty much half the time whenever you're at level 16. whenever you're in team fights, you're going to be in your ultimate pretty much guaranteed all the time. So movement speed from your boots is really not something you're going to be looking for. Power treads is easily the best choice here. Gives you a lot of different benefits that you could really use. Strength, attack speed, and if you need to tread switch to get some more intelligence to get wolves or an ultimate off, you can definitely do that. So I'm going to go back into the jungle. The next big item that I always recommend getting on Lycanthrope that is almost always a safe bet is going to be a BKB. Reason being is because, again, Lycanthrope has no innate stuns, slows, or any form of crowd control. By picking up a Black King bar, it's going to make sure that I'm going to be able to charge into the enemy team and they are not going to be able to stop me. That's very, very important. And looking at this lineup, there are actually several things that can kind of stop me. But first, let's see what happens here. So I'm going for a gank on Ursa, and I remember to pop my Medallion of Courage on him to make sure I can do as much damage as I can to him. And it looks like he's actually going to turn and fight the Spectre. It looks like, unfortunately, the Spectre is going to go down, but he's going to trade his life in the process. And Tidehunter's in actually a bit of trouble here. By the way, it is really important that you attack move while you're playing Lycanthrope. Very, very important that you do that. Tidehunter looks like this is going to be a kill here. He's actually doing some fairly good juking, and I decided to back off from this. Keep in mind, I really didn't have to, given that I have the Aegis, but good play by him, managing to avoid my attacks. By the way, what I was talking about with the attack move, if you guys are not familiar with that, after I attack a target, it is very critical that I move again to make sure that I keep up with them. You can also pop Medallion on a hero to make sure they take extra tower damage. Nice little thing you can do there. Yeah, attack moving as Lycanthrope is extremely important. Otherwise, whenever you're in your ultimate form, you're going to attack a target, you're going to sit there for a minute while your backswing animation completes, then you're going to run forward again, repeat, and you can easily get in another extra attack while you're chasing a target if you attack move properly. I still have a lot of practice to do myself with actually getting good at it. It's just one of those things that's going to take a long time to really get used to. One thing you can do while you're jungling as well to speed up your jungle is you can actually use Medallion of Courage on creeps. That's another good thing to do. So it looks like I am going to go ahead and go on this Lone Druid with help from the Storm Spirit. Very easy kill there. Storm Spirit's pull, guaranteed, we had that down. And now we are definitely going to go and start pressuring this tower. I'm actually going to dive on the Ursa here. Again, remember, I still have the Aegis, so this means I can be very aggressive. He goes down very, very quickly. Good heal by the Omni Knight, does a lot of damage to the Tidehunter. It looks like the Tidehunter is probably going to go down here. Storm Spirit finishes him off. Very nicely done. We're going after the Vengeful Spirit. She doesn't really have much of anywhere to go once Storm Spirit gets on her. And that is definitely going to be a kill. Omni Knight picks it up with the heal. Very nice. Let's go back up to top. And again, I just really want to emphasize how insanely strong of a pusher that Lycanthrope is. I see no reason why we cannot take 2 towers here.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Okay, top tower goes down. Respawn my wolves. Let's talk a little bit about Lycanthrope's Howl. Again, notice how this tower is going down insanely fast. The Howl is really helping this. Again, all minions on the map get 16 bonus damage. All heroes get 50 at level 4. Let's put that into perspective a little bit. So if I take a look at just a ranged creep, it's going to get 16 bonus damage. Take a look at a melee creep, or a... That's a bug in the replay. Fix me, localization, fail, missing. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm giving the creeps a lot of bonus damage. To my wolves, I'm going to be giving them a hell of a lot of damage as well. So base damage at 46 plus 20, going to be adding 16 on top of that. Yeah, that adds up, especially if they start getting crits too. That really, really adds up. Howl is a great ability. And the fact that it's not an AoE, but it's global, that is also a pretty nice perk. If it were just in an AoE, I would still consider this quite a good ability. So notice how I'm using the Medallion of Courage on the jungle, just to speed things up a bit. It's going to make clearing the camps a little bit faster. So apparently all hell is breaking loose down here at mid. I pop my ultimate to get there as quickly as I can. Again, really good ultimate by the Omni Knight. It completely countered Juggernaut's ultimate there. Very well played. Looks like the Ursa is definitely going to go down. The Crystal Maiden stun is going to ensure that. Targeting the Tidehunter here, he's going to go down as well. Yeah, these guys are in a lot of trouble. Don't really think I need to commentate this too much to describe what's going on. Hoping that I can get my wolves a kill here, but it looks like the Omni Knight's going to pick that up. And yes, he does. So very good. This is a mistake from the Lone Druid, by the way. If he's able to resummon his bear, he should, because that is a free plus 100 gold. I also kind of want to, this also brings up the point of don't feed your wolves to the enemies. Like, don't just blindly throw your wolves at them where you know they're going to die. They're actually worth a fair amount of gold and XP. That stuff adds up. Use my Howl, be able to melt this tower with impunity. No problem there. And I ping wildly to indicate to my team that I don't want to Rax quite yet, but instead I want to go bottom and take that tower out instead. One thing to keep in mind is that my Aegis, while it is still up, whenever Roshan respawns, which is going to be, looks like in about another 2 minutes, is that my Aegis is going to go away. So we could do something crazy here and I could die and it would not be a big deal at all. It would definitely not be a waste, especially if it means if we could take a tower or even push a barracks. So we may have actually been able to keep pushing mid there. It definitely would have been the extremely aggressive decision. But just some things to keep in mind. You know, if you do pick up the Aegis, use it. If you want to get in team fight and die, that's fine. Don't throw yourself into a 1v5 situation, of course. You know, use common sense, but just a few things to keep in mind. So Black King Bar is picked up. Very good item. Gives stats that Lycan really needs. The strength and damage is minimal. The fact that it gives you the magic immunity is absolutely critical. I would say this is more of a core item on Lycan than most other heroes in the game. Lycan really needs this item. Otherwise, you're going to get CC'd to death. Again, opponents too. Well, I'm going to save this for a minute. Looks like I'm ulting in because all hell's breaking loose mid yet again. Let's see what happens here. Omni-Knight's running away, has his repel running, and looks like I'm going to get into a 2v5 situation here. So, trying to focus down the Ursa as quickly as I can to nullify his damage. He does go down very quickly. Trying to get the Vengeful Spirit just to make sure that she can't screw with me after my BKB runs out. I'm going to turn back around. It looks like that... Okay, he does finally pop his ultimate. I was waiting for Tidehunter to do that. Tidehunter's going to go down very quickly. Again, notice the entire time I'm doing this, I'm making sure to use my medallion. Don't forget to use your items, guys. That's really important. Tidehunter does go down. Going to finish off Lone Druid. And getting a very nice ultra kill there. So at this point in the game, it really doesn't matter what I do. This is what happens whenever Lycanthrope is allowed to farm in the jungle and yeah, get this strong. So I want to talk about my feelings on this character. Lycanthrope is my favorite character in the entire game. No one really even comes close. However, in a public game setting like this, he is absolutely broken. And by watching this video, I think I can kind of illustrate that. The fact that no one ever went in my jungle, no one ever countered me, no one ever warded my camps or tried to gank me, ensured that I got to this point. Let's take a look at the XP and gold grass and try to kind of illustrate this further as I'm killing Roshan. So looking at the XP grass, it is massively in our favor. Again, this is... it's pretty obvious why the team fights we've been winning is a huge part of it, but if I just take a look at the levels here, I'm level 19, next closest level on the team is enemy 14, next closest level on my team is level 17 from the Storm Spirit. Huge difference in XP. Gold, huge difference in gold. Roshan kills are helping, team kills are helping, pretty obvious stuff. Yeah, Lycan is definitely a character that in a public game setting, yeah, I'm drawing on the map showing I want to finish the game, kill the tower. Don't drag games out if you can avoid it, guys. That's definitely bad etiquette, and I want to go ahead and finish this game. I really didn't even need to get Roshan, but I wanted to finish my Assault Cuirass. Let's talk about some items you can get on Lycanthrope. There's a couple different ways you can build them. I do feel that BKB is absolutely core, if nothing else. But this game, BKB and Vlad's, obviously. I decided to go Assault Cuirass this game. Reason being is it gives you a lot of good stats, attack speed, armor. Gives a armor debuff to anyone in the radius, which means you're going to kill buildings even faster. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't apply to buildings. The Desolator does apply to buildings, but this does apply to enemy heroes. So the 5 armor reduction from this and 6 armor reduction from this, minus 11 armor on any target that I choose to focus. That's a lot of extra damage. And again, I built this because they had an Ursa, a Lone Druid, and Juggernaut. At this point in the game, it really didn't matter. You can build a Desolator just for some more pure damage. You could build something like Skullbasher can actually be quite good in certain games. If you're up against heroes with a lot of blinks, like Queen of Pain, Anti-Mage, characters like that, Skullbasher can actually be quite good. So yeah, generally speaking, if you get in the jungle, farm, kill Roshan, you're going to have a good time with Lycanthrope. And yeah, I apologize at the end for playing him because he is super broken, overpowered, etc., etc. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something from it. And yeah, Lycanthrope is by far my favorite character in the game, and I've been looking forward to doing this video for a while. So taking a look at the graphs here, nothing to be surprised at. Again, I'm not making these videos to show off. I want to show you guys how to properly play certain heroes, and hope you have a good time with it. Thanks for watching. Take care.